grass beneath your feet. As you pass each rustling leaf and wooden seat, peace and quiet waits beyond the open gates where you leave behind the bustle of the street. 100 sparrows dart from tree to tree, squirrels chase each other playfully, and if you care to take some breadcrumbs to the lake, you'll have ducks and swans for company. In the park, when you're walking in the park, sharing Mother Nature's company. In the park, when you're walking in the park, there are times when it's the only place to be. The summer flowers which never let you down, the autumn leaves which turn to golden brown, from a frosty winter scene to the springtime shades of green, it's a haven in the middle of the town. In the park, when you're walking in the park, sharing Mother Nature's company. In the park, when you're walking in the park, there are times when it's the only place to be. Feel the springy grass beneath your feet as you pass each rustling leaf and wooden seat. Peace and quiet waits just beyond the open gates where you leave behind the bustle of the street. In the park, when you're walking in the park, sharing Mother Nature's company. In the park, when you're walking in the park, there are times when it's the only place to be.
Birkenhead Park was officially opened in 1847 by Sir William Jackson and was the first purpose-built public park in the country. Indeed, one of many firsts for Birkenhead. The day was declared a public holiday. It was designed by Sir Joseph Paxton, the celebrated landscape gardener, who first viewed the proposed site in 1842 when it was a low, unpleasant swamp. His design was to present a complete contrast to the formal grid layout of the inner areas of Birkenhead, and it was used as a basis for other public parks throughout the land, with its extensive drives, beautiful walks, elegant gardens adorned with groves and ornamental waters, and numerous sources of pleasure. Some of Paxton's ideas were borrowed by Olmsted in the creation of the famous Central Park in New York. The whole area consists of an upper and lower park separated by a public road. The monumental main entrance was modelled on the Temple of Elysius in Athens. There are two lakes, one in each part, the lower lake having a boathouse and a picturesque Swiss bridge. The lakes were formed by excavating and draining the surrounding marshes, the waste being used to create the surrounding hills and hillocks. Although it was Paxton's initial intention to surround the park with elegantly designed houses, to complement the general layout, this was only partially achieved, the probable cause being exhaustion of resources. However, although the buildings which now surround the park vary greatly in style, they do not detract from its natural charm, which has lasted for 1.5 centuries. It continues to be enjoyed by its many visitors, and were Mr. Paxton here today, I think he would be proud of his donation to the area. In 1888, William Hesketh Lever ordered the building of these houses. This was to be the beginning of Port Sunlight Village. Mr. Lever was a successful soap manufacturer who decided in 1887 to move his Warrington factory to the open fields and marshes of the Cheshire coast, just south of Birkenhead and the villages of Rockferry and New Ferry, thus being close to the main railway line between Birkenhead and London and to the River Mersey. His plan was to build an idyllic village to house his workforce. He felt that by giving his employees a good standard of living, he would be repaid by gaining their respect and loyalty. In the years to follow, he was proved to be right. Up until 1980, the village, with all its amenities, was exclusively for employees of Lever Brothers and its associated companies. In 1909, the average rent for a 3-bedroom house was 5 9p, or 29p. For a 4-bedroom house, it was 8 9p, or 44p. The village, as we know it today, has virtually remained unchanged since the death of Mr. Lever, then Viscount Leverhulme, in 1925, and most of the principal public buildings he was responsible for are still there today for all to see. For example, the Gladstone Hall, now a theatre, which was built in 1891 and opened by William Gladstone himself. It was originally a dining hall for the men from the works. The present post office was built in 1891. It was originally a village shop up until 1894. The Heritage Centre was built as a girls' hostel in 1896 and has also been a library. Built between 1894 and 1896, the Lyceum is now a men's club, but was originally the village school. The Lever Club was built in 1896 and was known as the Pavilion, having 2 billiard rooms and a bowling green. It was extended in 1968. Built in 1900, the Bridge Inn took its name from the since demolished Victoria Bridge, under which a tidal arm of the Mersey used to flow before winding through the village. Hume Hall was named after the maiden name of Lever's wife and was built in 1901 as a female employee's dining room. It is now used for social occasions. Between 1902 and 1904, Christ Church was built as a memorial to Lever's parents and is one of the largest churches in the area. At the west end of the church, there is a memorial to Viscount Leverhulme and Lady Lever. Hesketh Hall takes its name from Eliza Hesketh, Lever's mother, and was built as a technical institute in 1902. It is now the headquarters of the Port Sunlight branch of the Royal British Legion. Church Drive School was built in 1903 and replaced the Lyceum as the village school. The War Memorial was designed by Lever's friend, William Goscombe John, who also designed the memorial figures of the Levers outside Christ Church. In memory of his wife, who died in 1913, Lever gave the Lady Lever Art Gallery to the village. It was opened in 1922 by Princess Beatrice. It is now administered by the National Museums and Galleries on Merseyside. Viscount Leverhulme died in 1925, and this memorial to him was unveiled in 1930. The main figure represents inspiration. The figures at the base represent industry, education, charity, and art. Little has changed in this unique corner of Wirral in the last century, and it is hard to imagine anything changing in the next 100 years.